All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming here, especially on such short notice. As you know, Tropical Storm Nicole is approaching the Bahamas, moving at about 4 miles an hour, and is a few hundred miles away from the Bahamas. Of course, there are implications for right here in Orange County as it relates to our preparedness and what will happen next. Giving us more information, we have multiple staff members from Public Works and from Utilities, but to give us information on what's going to take place here in the next few days is Mayor Demings. Mayor?
All right, thank you, Dr. Williamson. Thank you to all of you for being here this afternoon. I thought it was important that while we are about to experience a late season storm, it's important that we talk to our community to reassure everyone that we're preparing and taking the necessary steps if Tropical Storm Nicole comes our way. This afternoon, I'm going to share a bit of information with you, and I'm joined by Commissioner Christine Moore there in the back of the room. Also, I've asked our Director of Public Safety, Mr. Danny Banks, to join us, and our Emergency Manager, Division Chief Avery from the Orange County Fire Rescue Department to join me as well. A late season storm can still cause damage. Although we are cautiously optimistic at this time, we still must prepare. A hurricane watch is already in effect for Brevard and Volusia counties, and really down the East Coast going to the Broward County area. The rest of Central Florida, however, including Orange County, is under a tropical storm watch. If there's any better news about what we're about to experience, it is that the projected storm is not likely going to impact us as a hurricane. It is likely to impact us as a tropical storm. We will be dealing with tropical force winds that can still negatively impact us in terms of a negative impact on our health, safety, and welfare as a community. Right now, the forecast calls for rainfall between 4 and 6 inches and tropical storm force winds. Now, there's a graphic that I'm going to ask them to put up at this time. Hopefully, the graphic you can see behind me. What I wanted to do was show you that the experience that we had with Hurricane Ian dumped a lot of rainfall on our community. And when you look at the graphic behind me, it shows several different areas of our community and what the related rain gauge network indicated was the level of rainfall in our community. The first area there where you see 20 inches, that is the Shingle Creek, Spring Lake area that had 20 inches, and then the Little Wekiva area, the Somerset community had 18 inches. The Little Econ River area, specifically Verona Park, had 16 inches. And the Shingle Creek West Side Manor or Orla Vista area had 13 inches. As I have indicated, what the National Weather Service is saying to us at this time, we're projected to have about 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches of rain. So there are numerous things that we're doing at this time to prepare. We're still recovering from Hurricane Ian, but I want our community to know that we are preparing. Before you ask the question, I want to just let you know that we have already began the process of pumping down water levels, and that is happening as we speak. That does include areas in the Orla Vista area, such as West Side Manor and the Bonnie Brook area. There are also other areas that will be assessed and pumped down as needed throughout the county. We have started the process of setting up numerous areas to deal with the debris removal, and I want to share with you just kind of where we are at this point. As we look throughout the county, we will let me back up here. As far as debris, as of Saturday, Orange County had picked up more than 150,000 cubic yards of debris since Hurricane Ian hit. We know there is more debris that needs to be picked up, so we are asking residents who haven't had their debris taken away at this time to be cognizant of the storm drains and keep those areas unobstructed. We're asking our residents also that if you can to remove the debris off the street and onto the grass areas of your front yards or homes. That would be a big help to us. While we are going to continue picking up debris between now and Wednesday of this week, we're working with our haulers to pick up as much debris as we possibly can. Joe Conkle, our Public Works Director, is going to share some additional information with you shortly, but we're also preparing to make sandbags available within Orange County. Today there's one location open, and it will be open until 5:30 p.m. This is at Downey Park, which is located at 10107 Flowers Avenue. Tomorrow we will open a location at 8 a.m. and it will stay open between 8 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. And there are 4 places that will be open. Again, Downing Park on Flowers Avenue, Fort Christmas Historical Park at 1300 Fort Christmas Road and Christmas, and Claricona Horseman's Park, which is located at 3535 Damon Road in the Apopka area. And then we'll also have a location at the Multicultural Center located at 7149 West Colonial Drive. This is near the intersection of Hiawassee Road and Colonial Drive. These will be the areas where we will be setting up for sandbag distribution tomorrow. Residents will need to bring their own shovels to these locations, and they will have to fill the bags themselves. These locations will be operating on a first-come, first-served basis, and each resident will be provided up to 10 unfilled bags. We have been in communications with Orange County Public Schools, and at this point, what the OCPS leaders are advising us is that it's too soon for them to make any call regarding the opening or closing of schools, and so we believe that that decision will likely be made sometime tomorrow. We also realize that tomorrow is election day here in Orange County. The supervisor of elections has indicated that there should be no impact on the various voting sites within Orange County. That is going to move forward as planned. And so with that, that is the update at this time. I remind all of us that now is the time for us to prepare should we receive the 4 to 6 inches of rain. There will be some likely localized flooding to some areas, but should not be what we saw during Hurricane Ian. And so with that, if you have any questions, Joe, I don't know, you can come on up to the mic. If you have any questions about what's happening with the debris removal, we can respond to that, or any specific questions regarding what Public Works is doing to prepare in advance. We'll take those questions at this time. Okay. Any questions? We'll open it up.
Ryan Gillespie at the Orlando Sentinel. Just given how wet everything is a month after Hurricane Ian, if places flooded during that storm, is it fair for residents in those areas to assume that even 6 inches could cause flooding again?
Okay, let me let the experts talk to you about it. What I tried to do was, when I put the graphic up, was just sprinkle some reality into the conversation about it. And Joe is the expert in that area, so I'm going to ask him to come forward.
Thank you, Mayor. So I would start off by saying that residents know their areas and their homes better than we do at the county. So if you live in an area and you get a normal afternoon rain, you know what's there, and you should prepare accordingly. However, compared to Hurricane Ian, this is going to be a much less significant rainfall. 6 inches is still a bit of rain, but it is not anywhere near as the impacts of 13, 14, or 20 inches of rain. With that said, anyone who drove around shortly after Ian saw that all the lakes were high, all the ponds were high, all the rivers were high. And we've been monitoring those and tracking those ever since the storm. And I can tell you that Shingle Creek and Big Econ River have receded significantly, tens of feet from where they were before. And likewise, Little Wekiva, Little Econ, Boggy Creek are close to their normal levels for this time of year, as is a lot of the lakes. Now, some of the lakes are still a little bit high, but they are receded significantly and are approaching their normal levels. So we're not totally back to where we were before the storm, but we are really close.
Nick Papantonis, WFTV Channel 9. Especially around the lakes where all these floodwaters had been for some amount of time, are there additional concerns about the integrity of tree root systems with the winds coming in, or have we dried out enough to the point where it's not going to be any more of an impact than an average rainstorm?
I think it's more of the latter, more of the impact of a normal rainstorm. A lot of the areas that were very wet because of the storm that we had with Hurricane Ian, a lot of that water has gone down. A lot of that groundwater has gone down. So the areas are drier. Of course, there are some areas that are still wet. But I think the more appropriate concern, as you said, is with the winds. So if we have some heavier winds and you have some larger trees, that would be a concern that folks need to be aware of and just watch out for. But there's appears to be more of a wind event as opposed to a rain event like we had with Hurricane Ian. Chief, I don't know if you have anything on that.
All right, other questions? No, the mic is moving around, so it's going to the back of the room at this time.
Mayor, this is Melissa Thomas with Florida National News. Obviously, folks are still kind of feeling the after effects of Hurricane Ian, but now that things have settled down, what has been the biggest takeaway from recovering from Ian that you're bringing into kind of prep for Nicole? Obviously, Nicole is a little bit less severe, but go ahead.
Well, if we had our choice, we certainly would want to see another tropical storm coming on this close to the heels of Ian. But, this is the unpredictability, I think, of weather sometimes. And so while we're still in recovery, we still have individuals who have not yet been able to move back into the places where they were living. We're still trying to meet those needs, and at this time we have another storm that's coming. And what we're trying to ensure is that we give people adequate notice, provide sufficient information for them to be able to make appropriate decisions. If the track of the storm changes or we see the intensity or the severity of the storm changes, then we'll have to make some other decisions. At this point, we're having behind-the-scenes conversations about whether or not to open shelters and those types of things, but I believe the next 24 hours or so is going to be really important to those ultimate decisions. As we know that tracks of storms can change, but suffice it to say, we believe that by Wednesday or Thursday, we will definitely be impacted in some way. The only question is how significant will that impact be? But what we wanted to do was come to our community early and share with you that we are doing some planning. We're doing all of those things proactively that we should be doing at this point. You've heard from the Public Works Director, engineer, who has studied the information that we have at this time, and what he's saying to you is that if we incur the 4 to 6 inches of rain that is projected by the National Weather Service, we should be able to handle that within our current storm water system. They're doing the things that they can do to make certain that our water bodies are able to accept that amount of rain. So putting it into perspective, during Ian, you could see from the maps we had 4 to 5 times that amount of rain that impacted our community. So let's just hope for the best in this situation. But our team of individuals will plan for the worst, but we're hoping for the best. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you all for coming this afternoon. We'll be around if there is any need for any one-on-ones with our team that's here. Okay. All right.